Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live stream today. I'm really excited because today we'll be designing a website from scratch. Hopefully you can hear me. If you can hear me loud and clear, please let me know in the comments box before we begin. Okay, so I can see here loud and clear. Awesome. Right, so I'd like to welcome everyone here. Today we have Monique, as usual, Manuel, we have Agante, Tom from Melbourne, Australia. And it's in the evening right there. Awesome. Right, we also have Nigel from Zimbabwe. Good to see you, Nigel. We also have Michael Jordan, Ilok, Sabine, Agante. No, I've mentioned that already. Let's have a look. Who else do we have? Trisha, good to see you. Oh, Trisha's in London. Awesome. Right. Okay. So we also have Dr. Steve Turner. We have Rayland. We have Gillian. And yeah, we have Gillian as well. Awesome. Right. So what we're going to do today, this is something special because we are going to be designing a blogging website from scratch. And this website is a real project. It's a true project. So what I will be doing with this is I will be giving it away for free for anyone to download. But I want you to see my thought process, what I go through as I design a fully functioning website, which I am going to be giving away. So you'll be seeing me behind the scenes, step by step, how I make decisions on what pictures to use, what fonts to use, what colors to use, and so forth. So this is a full project. So we're not going to finish everything today, but we are going to perhaps maybe divide this into maybe 3 episodes, right? Because we need to design all the pages that we need for this website until it's ready for us to, give it away to the public. So I thought this was important because sometimes when I do tutorials, they're all hypotheticals, right? So this is a real project which hopefully people will like it and will be downloading. Now, let me show you what it looks like. So I'm just going to switch over here so I can show you my desktop. Right. Let's share that. Right. So this is the website that we'll be designing. So as you can see, it's a travel vlog. So as I scroll down here, this is where we have this video. And then these will be like the latest images. And then I didn't get enough time to do the footer, so I will also be doing the footer here. So I'll show you how to design the footer. Now, this is an opt-in, email opt-in, and I'll also be discussing why we should have this type of style for this type of website. So we'll sort of like create a design brief and then decide what colors and what layouts we're going to be going with. So I hope you're excited about today's episode. So if you just bear with me, if you just give me a few seconds, I just need to get my cup of coffee because I can't afford to be falling asleep on this one. All right, just bear with me. Okay, so for those of you that may still be deciding whether they should buy Divi or not, if you haven't bought Divi, I have a special link. If you buy Divi using that affiliate link, I'll give you access to the Divi Blueprint 3 course and the Photoshop for web designers. Okay, so the link is there anytime you need it. All right, so Nigel says the coffee makes the world go round. Right, let's have a look here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to start like from scratch, as I mentioned. So the brief here is we want to design a website for a vlogger. So basically the vlogger, let's assume they put content already on YouTube. YouTube videos. So they just want a place like a home where they can add all their images as they're traveling, and also maybe showcase the videos and perhaps maybe even a bit of blogging. But what I've also noticed about vloggers is some of them, they do sell their own gear. So let's say they want to sell some t-shirts or stuff like that. We are also going to be adding a shop to this website, okay? And social media is very important, so we also like to add the ability for people to sign up so that they can stay up to date with this vlogger. Now, the name of this website is going to be called Freedom, because I don't know if you watched my vlog yesterday. If you haven't, please go and check it out. I'm also trying to vlog so that I can give you guys a behind the scenes, you know, when I'm up and about, when I'm traveling, you know, when I'm on my way home, on my way to work. So you can get to see like a behind the scenes. It's not perfect. I'm still learning how to do it. It's still uncomfortable because sometimes I have to put my camera in my face as I'm walking around and people are always looking at me. So it's a challenge that I set myself because I know it's a very difficult thing to do. So yeah, check it out. Check out the vlog. If you like it, also leave a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask me, you know, questions about the vlog. We also have quite a few of you coming here. We have Carmen. We also have, I think it's Sofiane, I think. I think it's Sofiane. Hopefully I pronounced the name correctly. So yes, if you haven't watched the vlog, please check it out. It's on my YouTube channel, Mac TV. And also, I'd like to say, for some reason, when I mean, if you don't hit the bell notification after you've subscribed, you will not get any updates. So what you need to do, if you haven't hit the bell notification on the YouTube channel, you need to make sure you hit the bell notification, because YouTube, for some reason, does not update everyone via notifications. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is hosting. So I'm just going to go through these first few things really fast, because perhaps some of you have already chosen the hosting and all those stages. So I just want to go through. I won't be showing you the demo, but of course, if you want to go in depth, I have a free course on macuniversity.com. So let's start with hosting. So first of all, you want a very good hosting. So there's three hosting companies that I recommend. I recommend SiteGround, InMotion Hosting, and WP Engine. Now, WP Engine is where I put my serious projects. In fact, was it 2 weeks ago? Something happened to Mac University and it went down. And I saw a message quickly, and I really want to thank you guys, you know, for notifying me when things go wrong like this. I really appreciate that. So anyway, I got a message via the support saying, Mac, your website is down. So I went to the website and I was like, wow, it's really, really down. This is crazy. So what I did is I went into WP Engine. Now, WP Engine has backups that are done automatically. So this is the beauty of that. So what I did is I went in there, tried to fix the problem, and I was panicking because obviously they're paid members. People were doing, you know, signing up, doing the training and all of that. So I didn't want to really mess up anyone by experimenting to find what the problem was. So anyway, what I did is I went to a backup. I backed up, rolled back to the previous backup, because it does backups every day. Rolled back, and I was able to get the website up and running. And then I went in and made sure that all my plugins and themes were updated. So I was back up and running in less than like 10 minutes. So this is where you want to put your serious projects. But if you're just designing websites, you're learning, it's your hobby and that kind of stuff, SiteGround, InMotion Hosting are good. But of course, there are other hosting companies like A2. I mean, there's a ton of them, but I'm just sharing with you the ones that I like. Now, the ones to stay away from are hosting companies like HostGator, Bluehost. Their support is not very good. I'm not sure if they've improved yet, but their support is really bad. Okay, moving on. The page builder that we're going to be using, of course, is going to be Divi. That's what I prefer. I think, you know, it's much easier to use. I'm familiar with it. I've been using it for over 8 years, you know, so I really like it. But of course, these techniques that I'm using today can be used in with other page builders. Okay, so we'll be using Divi. Okay, so moving on. Now, when I have a project like this, after the design, I mean, the brief stage, this is where we get to think about the colors. Now, this is vlogging, okay? Now, vlogging is exciting. It's fun, it's exciting. So these are the keywords, okay? So what I'm going to do is I've chosen the colors, or I know the colors that I think will work with this, but I want this to be interactive now. What colors do you think work with the theme of fun, travel, happy, excitement? So these are the sort of things that come along with vlogging, and I'm sure you can agree with me. So what I want to do now is let's discuss the colors that you think will work with this project. So if you can start adding all your colors in the comments box, this will be great, and then we can discuss why those colors work. And for those of you that are not really familiar with color theory, perhaps you can learn quite a lot from this. Okay, so we already have some colors here. Michael Jordan Elock says blue, yellow, pink. Okay, blue, yellow, pink. Okay, any more colors? Please add your colors in the comments box. Okay, we also have orange. That's good. Yellow. Okay, we have yellow already. Any more colors that could work with this project? Yellow, blue, orange. Yep. Green. Okay, we have green here. Right, we also have purple here and black, green. Okay, awesome. Now here's the thing from this. So when it comes to to color theory, there are colors which are associated with certain things. Now, in this case, because we are talking about travel, fun, excitement, the color that really pops up right away is colors like orange, yellow. Those are the sort of colors that sort of like show, that kind of emotion. So yellow, orange, the pinks, blue is also very good. Travel, the sky, the sea, the seaside, that kind of stuff. So think about sunset, those colors you get in that, the oranges. So these are the sort of colors that we want to add. Now, the next stage now I go to, and by the way, thank you very much for that. Green also works, by the way, but it needs to be a very nice shade of green, which is not like really close to the dark green. It needs to be like a very light green. So green also works because vegetation, trees, that kind of stuff. Okay, so great. So we're off to a good start. We've established what sort of colors we're going to be using. So this is great. So what I normally do now, and this is where I'm going to switch over here to my computer so we can see how I choose my colors. Right. Okay. All right. So the website I go to for colors is this website called coolers.co.uk. Not .co.uk, .co. Right. So what you can do here is if you're lazy and you don't really want to build, the palette from scratch, you can just come over here and just search for fun or adventure or whatever it is. So you can see here I've searched for fun, and we have some colors that are now showing on our page. And this is, most of these colors are similar to what we were talking about anyway. So the one I chose is this one here. So I'm just going to click here on view. So you can see here, we pretty much have the colors that we were suggesting in this earlier on. So here we can come in and make a few tweaks to these colors. So I'm just going to come here and make a slight adjustment to this. So I'm just going to make it a slightly darker, just about there. Okay, so that's looking good. Over here as well, I could maybe change the color of the green slightly. Okay, but let's go with that. Okay, so this is the color palette we're going to go with. So the next stage now is to take all our colors that we've just put together here and add them onto Divi. So what I've done ahead of time is I've already installed Divi on my website. So I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to go into my dashboard. Right. So what you want to do is to come over here to Divi, and then you want to click on theme customizer. No, sorry. Theme options. Okay, so you're going to click on theme options. So this will take you to the main general tab. This is where you get to add your logo, which we'll do at a later stage. Right, so in terms of the colors now, let's start adding all our colors. So I'm going to start here with this first color. So this is where I'm just going to flip back and forth between my color palettes and my theme options. Okay, so I'm just going to paste my color. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to make it easier for me to find my colors as I'm designing my website, because the one thing I hate is copying and pasting once every time I need to look for a color. Okay, so all I'm doing here is I'm just going in and copying my color, pasting it here on my color palette. Okay, so I'm just replacing these colors with the colors from a color palette. And I want to also show you a technique, because we are also going to perhaps need black and some grays for our website. And okay, this is our final color. I'm going to copy that and let's paste it here. Great. Right. So we have our first 5 colors here. So what I normally do as well is I add a very dark gray or black. Okay. So I just use that as a guide sometimes. And also I add gray. And the reason why I add gray there is because my text, sometimes I may also want to make it gray. Let's have a look here. So let's start with the white. Something's wrong with this. Anyways, I could change it later on as I'm designing the site. Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. So if you want to have a gray, you can just slide this down to about that. Okay, so we got our white first, and then this is where we get our gray. So I'm just going to come down here to about maybe 5E, 5E, 5E. Now, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be using that. I just want to make sure I just keep it in there. And our color algorithm in Divi will also help us, generate some colors if we do need them at a later stage. But the most important thing here is I have the 5 colors that I need, and then these 3 are just my gray colors for my font, which I'm going to use throughout the website. Okay, so now that we have this is looking great. Let's go ahead now and save changes. Okay, so we have our colors in place. The next stage now is to add your fonts. Okay, so you want to do this right from the get-go, because if you start adding fonts while you're designing the website, it is going to take very, very long, and it just adds more time to your design process. Okay, so to add our colors, we're going to go to the theme customizer. So I'm just going to make sure this is saved. Okay, right. So let's go to the theme customizer. Right, so over here on the theme customizer, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to general settings, typography, and this is where we get to add our sizes. So my body font and my body text size, I think I'll just have it at about 19. The line height is fine. Everything else here is okay. I can just leave it as it is. Now, this is where it's important. The header font, you want to make sure you choose your font. So I want to search for Poppins. But of course, you want to do a bit more research in your case and decide what font you want to use. Right, so Poppins, we're almost there. Okay, here we go. And my body font also is going to be Poppins. So again, I'm just going to quickly find it. Here we go. Right. So I have my fonts in place. That's looking great. And then over here, body link text color. So this is where we can choose what color our link is going to be. So since we have a color palette here, we can always come here and say, right, so what's the link going to be? And let's say we want our links to be this green here. Okay, let's go with that. And then we're just going to come back over here and add our color. So this is just going to make sure that we have consistency, through our website. Okay, so we have our link color, the body text color. I'm just going to leave these grays as they are by default, and then I'm going to click on publish. Okay, great. So any questions so far? Are we all on the same page? We've added our colors. We've established how we're going to search for, how we put our color palette together, the website where we do the color palettes. We've added our fonts. We've added our colors to the color palette in Divi. So far, any questions? Okay, we have fantastic here from Monique. Good. Right. Okay, good. Everything seems fine so far then. Okay. Brenda says, huge time saver. Yes, absolutely. This is a great and this is a huge time saver. All right. So now that I have this in place, I'm just going to close this because I've published it. Now it's time to build our page. So I'm just going to come over here, click on add new. So when you come to the pages, again, I prefer just adding my initial pages first so I can see how my navigation looks. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add my pages. So I already have the home page. Of course, we're going to go in and delete what I've done and add a new design onto that and show you how I designed it. But the next pages is, now this is how we also decide how we want to add our pages. So in fact, let's make this a an interactive part. So what sort of pages do you think a vlogger would want to have on their website? Yeah, it's travel. Yes. So what sort of pages? Shop. Okay, good. So we're going to add a shop. Oops. Videos. Yes. In fact, let me write this down before I forget. So we want to have a page which has videos, shop. What else? Photography. Yes, that could be the gallery. Good. Adventures. Okay. Okay, so what other pages do you think a vlogger or travel vlogger would want to have on their website? The about page. Okay. Food. Yeah, maybe the food could go in the adventures so we could have a blog and then you can have a food category where the vlogger can talk about the type of foods they're experiencing as they're traveling. But yes, that's a good one. Okay, so these are the ones that I also had on my list. In fact, I have it right here, which is good. So I like this interactive part because it's pretty much showing us as we're working together what sort of pages we need. Okay, great. So I'm going to start adding all my pages now. So we have shop here. I'm going to publish it. Okay, so let's also add another one, the gallery. So we're going to come over here, pages. We're going to add another one. This time is the gallery. Or let's make this a bit fun. Let's call this adventures. Okay, we're going to publish this as well. Let's add another one. The next one here is the about page. So we'll decide later on if maybe we can have just a quick bio on the home page, or perhaps maybe have it as a complete page. So we can decide this as we're designing, and this is good as well because you get to see the decision process. Okay, so let's go back here and add another page. So we have the adventures, about, home, shop. Let's have a blog as well. So we're going to add a blog page, publish that. So the blog page is going to have the videos as well on that page. Okay, so pretty much this is a very simple page, and maybe we may want to add a contact page. Okay, just in case you want people to contact the vlogger. Okay, contact, publish that. Okay, great. So now that we've added all our pages, in fact, let's just confirm we have all our pages. Yes, so we can see here we have all our pages. The next stage now is to make sure that you add all your pages onto your navigation area. Okay, so to do that, you want to come over here to appearance and then click on menus. So over here, you want to make sure you just drag, show all your pages. you want to select all and then just deselect the one that we have here already. So we see we have some home pages there. I don't know why we have a lot of duplications, but anyway, just add your pages here to your navigation. And then what you want to do here as well is to just rearrange things and make sure they are in the order that you like. Okay, so I think that's fine. Let's go ahead now and save. Okay, great. So that's looking good. Let's do a quick preview and see what's happening here on our homepage. So as you can see here on the top, all our pages are now added. Great. Right. So let's go in now, enable the visual builder. We're going to delete what we have here and build this website from scratch. Okay. So to delete that, I'm just going to come over here to the bottom and I'm just going to hit the trash can. Boom. So our page is gone. So we're starting from scratch now. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start with the main hero area. That's the main page that really captures your visitor when they come to the website. So I'm going to start here by adding a background image. I'm going to click this plus button. Now, I already have the images that I need in my media library. And by the way, the images I have are from this website called Pexels, and what's the other one? The other one is Pixabay. Okay, so this is where I'm getting all my images, and I'm sure if you watch all my videos by now, you'll know that I really like the use of high-res images. It's very, very important that you use high-res images. Okay, all right. So back here over to our website. So my first image here is going to be this background image here, which has a sunset coming out. Okay, I really like sunsets. Okay, so now that we have this image, let's save this for now. Now, next, I'm going to add a single column. And in that, we're going to add some text. Okay, so I'm going to click here on text. So what we're going to have here is just the title of our theme. So I've called this Freedom. Okay, so let's go in now and just make a few customizations here. So I'm going to center the text. And as you can see here, my text is quite difficult to read because it's on a colorful background. So I want to change this color here. I'm going to put light for now. Okay. And then I can play around now with my sizes. Now notice I don't have to go in and choose a font because we have applied a font right from the beginning. Okay. So I'm going to make it all caps. Okay. In fact, it's all caps already. And these are the colors that I added in when I was putting my all my colors together. So all my colors that I need are already here. The only thing that's happening is my whitish color here, my light gray is gone. It's not in. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I didn't add it. So this is the color that's missing. Okay. In fact, let me just close these tabs because I don't need them anymore. So we just want to clean up the space here. Okay. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to make my text bold. We're going to give it some letter spacing. Okay. So that's our text right there. It's good. I'm going to save that. And then again, I'm going to add another one. But this time, we're just going to add a paragraph text. So we're going to come over here to Lorem 2. In fact, let me just paste my color here just before I lose it. Okay, so over here, we're just going to add some Lorem text. I'm just going to copy it, come over here, and just paste it like that. Now, this is a bad idea because I've duplicated my title here. In fact, let's close that. Delete that, okay? So right now, I don't have enough space to go in and add my next module. As you can see here, this plus button here on my row is covering the plus button for my modules. Now, when that happens, all you have to do is to come here to the bottom left and just add it this way by just going into your wireframe mode. Okay, so as you can see, this is real life problems that we are encountering, and we're also going in and resolving them. Okay, right. So now I can go in and paste my text like that, and then I can just switch over now to my desktop view. Okay, right. So now that I have my text, I want to go into design and center this text and also change the color. So now I'm just going to copy that color that I had earlier on and paste it in here. So what I will do at some point is go in and add it manually into my theme options. Okay, so I have my text here. I think I'm happy with the size. The next thing you want to do is to just make sure it's centered. Now, as you can see, this line here is way too wide. So ideally, I want to reduce that, okay? I want to have it on 2 lines. So what I'm going to do here is to click on sizing and reduce that to about 55% and then center it, okay? Great, so I'm going to save this. Next, I am going to add another title here. So I'm going to click this plus button. Again, it's going to be a text module. Select that. And here, I'm just going to call this my travel vlog. Or we can call this my travel adventures. This time, we want this text to be a heading 1. And let's customize it now. So over here on heading text, we're going to go to heading 1. Okay, it's all caps. Now let's center it. Now it's time to make it nice and big. Okay, so we're going to change here the font weight to ultra bold and the size as well. We're going to increase the size nice and big. Right, I really like that. Next is the color now. Oh, my color is here. There we go. Right. So I have the 3 elements that I need on my page. So we have freedom, which is the pretty much the name of the theme. We have my travel adventures, and then we just have a brief description of what this travel adventures is all about. Great. So this is looking good so far. I'm going to go ahead now and save. The next stage now is to give this some breathing space. Okay. So we're going to come over here to my section settings, design, sizing. No, we're going to go to spacing. So we want to give this some padding. Okay. So the padding here, I'm going to start off with, let's say 10%, see how that looks. And I'm going to apply this again to the bottom as well. So this is like decent, it's looking okay. I like this, but of course, if you want to increase this, you can always just use that slider just to make it slightly bigger. So in fact, I will go with maybe 16, but this is where you can always go back, make some adjustments if you need to, but you can just go back and forth. Okay. Right. So we're not done yet. What we need to do next now is to just go in and add a bit of a gradient, okay? Because everything is so bright. So what we're going to do now is to come back over here, click on background, and this time we want to come over here to the gradient, okay? Click this plus button. So my first color here is going to be black. So let's make sure it's black, okay? It's pure black. And my second color here is going to be full transparency. In fact, we'll start with black and just add full transparency there. And then over here on place gradient above image, make sure you're going to do that. Okay. So now my gradient is above the image. So all I have to do now is to reverse this. So now my gradient is now at the bottom. Okay. So this black is not like 100% black. Oops. Okay. That's looking okay. But you know what? For some reason, we still have some transparency here. So that's not working the way I envisioned. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this differently. Okay. So I'm going to make this black as well. But what I'm going to do now is instead of placing this gradient above the image, we're going to come over here to this image, and for the image blend, we're going to go to multiply. It has the same effect, but the colors are slightly darker, I think, when I look at this. Okay, so we have black now. Let's make sure that this is black as well. It's strange, because this is supposed to be pure black. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And let's make sure that this one is black as well. Okay. Let me save this and go back into it because I think the builder here is playing up. Okay, let's go to the gradient. Okay, there we go. So my two colors are there now. And by the way, there's no editing in this. This is live. So you can actually see as I'm going through some difficulties here. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we are going to make sure that this is set to multiply. Yes, it is. Okay. Now over here, I can actually change this color here and make it white. So white now will have this, this sort of like transparent effect. Okay. So now that I have this, I'm really happy with that. I'm going to go ahead now and save. Now it's time to add the next paragraph, the next section. So I'm going to click this plus button here, add a regular section, single column. And in that column, we are going to add a video. Okay. Because we know vloggers, travelers, they like adding videos of where they're traveling to. So I'm going to add my video there. Right. So by default, we get this video here. Now let's add an overlay. So the first thing I do is to add an overlay because this image that comes in with Divi, it's a generic one. So let's add our own custom one. So I'm going to add my image here. So already you can see now this looks way, way, way much better than just using the normal video thing. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and save. And next I'm going to come over here and just make sure my background here is set to black. And again, it's not giving me a full black. This is quite annoying. I have to go in and manually do this. In fact, I'll fix this when it's time to sort of like add my color palette. So the reason why I've chosen to add black here is because you can see this blending effect. It looks like my color here is blending into this image here. I'm not sure if you can see it on YouTube, okay? But you can see it's like a consistent blend. It looks like things are just going up, and then we start seeing the color right there at the top. I really like that effect. So I'm going to go ahead now and save. And then what I'm going to do as well is, if this video here, if you feel this is too big, you can always go in here into the settings, and then you want to click on design, sizing, reduce the size a little bit like that, maybe to about 80%, center it. So that looks much, much better. Okay. Now, what you can also do in the video settings, in the play icon, notice that now we have all our branding colors. And this is where those little touches make a massive difference. So we can play around with these colors here and see which color you may want to go with. So I think I'm going to go with this yellow here. Okay. I really like that. So I'm going to go with that yellow, save that. Now, moving on, the next thing we want to add is sort of like the latest places this vlogger has traveled to. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to click here on this plus button, click on the regular. We're going to have a single column, but in that column, we're going to add a gallery. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, choose my gallery. Now, this is where we get to choose our images that we're going to use. So I'm pretty much happy with these. So you can decide to have 5 or 6 images. In fact, let me just have one more here. In fact, no, 4 is fine. I'm happy with 4. Let's leave that as it is. Okay, on the elements here, I'm going to make sure I remove show pagination, and I'm also going to remove the title and caption. So now all we have is just the images. Okay, so that's looking great. The next stage is just to save this. Now I'm going to go into the row settings. So in the row settings here, the first thing I want to do is to make sure that it's set to full width, okay? Because I want my images to go all the way to the edge. So I'm going to click here on sizing, make this row full width. Now the next stage, you see this gap that we have between these images. I don't really like that. So I'm going to make sure I get rid of that by just coming over here to use gutter width and then just dragging this all the way down to 1. Okay, so now my images are next to each other. And by the way, if you want to change these images, you can always go in and quickly change these images or update them anytime you want. All right, so now that we have this in place, let's go ahead and save. And then we are going to add black to our section background. Add my color here. Save that. Now you can see it's sort of like seamless. So the reason why this is working really well is, as you can see, my images are really showing. The contrast is very, very high. We have black and then we have color just on top of black. So this is very, very high contrast and it's really, really cool. In fact, what we also may want to do is to have two options of the homepage, a dark version and a light version. So perhaps we could be doing this in the next show. Okay. Eric, good to see you. Eric says, sorry for being late to the party. No, the party is still going. What we're doing today is we're designing a website for vloggers. So pretty much, I don't think you've lost. I mean, you've missed quite a lot. But anyway, let's carry on. So we have all our images now. But straight away, I think last time when I was doing the video reviews, I spoke about changing the defaults of the modules that come with Divi. Okay, the reason why you want to change this is because sometimes you can see right away that whatever the person is using is definitely Divi because it's been used the same out of the box. All right, so far are we all on the same page? Any questions so far? Please throw them in the comments box. Okay, any questions so far? Monique says learning away. Nigel says black is a bit too strong. Yes, I mean, this is where, when it comes to color now, this is where as a designer, you are playing around and seeing, what works in terms of contrast. But again, if the most important thing is knowing why you're using that color and how to achieve the effect you want. So of course we could go with a lighter gray and that still would work fine. But sometimes, especially here on this live stream, if I can show you like high contrast using black, it's much better because sometimes the colors don't show well on when I'm live streaming. But of course, I'll have a link to this. I'll have this live so you can actually see the colors. So we can play around with different versions where you can also suggest maybe slight variations of the colors, and then we can see in real time what they look like. But yes, you can always have a slight gray color onto that. But again, when it comes to contrasty colors, it's this is where things get subjective. Okay, right. Okay, very good question here from Monique. Monique says, if you're making it seamless, what makes you decide when to make a section background a different color? Right. Again, this is just how can I name it? Most of the time, I'm testing to see what's going to work. So sometimes I could say, right, let me have a section which is perhaps yellow, and then just looking at it, I could say maybe that doesn't look great. Change that color to maybe the next color on the color palette. So most of it is just trial and error. And then when you look at it, that's where you decide whether that's the look you want to go with. So it's about, trying it out and seeing what works. So we are also going to add some sections with color on this design, by the way, just to see. And in fact, maybe we can vote on that as we're designing the website. Okay. Right. So we have this section here. Let's go in and let me show you. Right, so back over here to our site. So what we want to do now is to go into the gallery, because as you can see, this overlay here is the default that comes with Divi. So if you leave this as it is, straight away, this screams, this is Divi, okay? So we want to change that. So we're going to go here into the settings of the gallery module. And then what we're going to do here is we are going to click on design overlay. All right. So as you can see here, we have our icon overlay. We also have pretty much we have our color palette here. So as Monique was asking earlier on, right now, I don't know what color I'm going to use for the overlay here. No idea. It's a matter of trying these colors out. So let's try this one here, this yellow. Okay. Now I think that's cool, but we need a bit of transparency into that. Okay. So we're going to click here, drag the slider down and test it. Okay. Let's drag it down a little bit. So I think I like that. I think I like that overlay. Now, what do you guys think? Do you think that overlay works? That slides yellowish color for our project? Brenda says, yes, it ties with the video icon. Fantastic. So you can see now you're starting to pick up the patterns as in terms of the colors that I'm using throughout this. So that's great that you can see that. Now, if you're not paying attention to color, this is where you'd see someone just add a blue from Norway. We don't have blue in our color palette, so we can't add blue and all these crazy colors. We have to stay consistent or as close as we can to our color palette. Okay, so that's great that you can pick that up. Now, this icon here, it's not working. I'm sure you can see that because it's blue. Okay, so let's change our zoom icon color. Oops. Okay, let's go to our icon color. Now, for our icon color, again, we're going to try some. Now, what is wrong with that reddish color? What is wrong with that color? Who can tell me why that wouldn't work, that color? In fact, let's change the icon here because, okay, let's try this one. Okay, so why does that icon not work? Monique says too muddy. Any more comments? Any comments? Why does that icon not work? Not clear. Very good. Okay. Difficult to see. Good. It does not fit with the theme. Absolutely. Okay. So I'm glad you're beginning to see these little things. Now, these little things are very important in design because this is what makes a website look professional or website look really, really nice. So let's go ahead and change it. So we have colors from our color palette. So this is where we get to experiment now. Okay. So do you think that works? We may change the icon, by the way. Let's see what we could use here. What can we use for images? Let me see if I can choose a good icon here. Right. Okay, let's try this one here. But anyway, the color here of the icon is much better than what we had before. As you can see, because it's easier to see now on these images. So that's where, the contrast really works really well. Now, I'm not really happy with this icon. And this is where now, if you have the time, you go in, buy some icons, your custom icons that work with your project. So for now, I'm just going to leave this icon as it is. But as you can see here, it's much easier to see. Okay, that's great. So let's go ahead now and save. So this one here is done. Now, moving on, the next part here now we're going to add is the part where it's like an email opt-in. So we want people to be able to opt in into our email to stay updated with the vlogger. Okay, so I'm going to click this plus button, click on regular single column, and this is an email opt-in. Add that. So by default, it comes with all of this. So we need to change some of these straight away. So first of all, I'm going to come over here to the fields. We don't need the last name, so we're going to get rid of that. So first name, let's leave our first name in there. Next, can come over here to the text. So let's call this stay in touch. I'm just adding this text, at random, oops. Stay in touch. I'm going to add a bit of a paragraph here. as you can see, I don't really like typing. Right, so that's our paragraph there. Right, so the next thing we want to do is come over here to design, layout, and then here we want to have body on top, form on the bottom, just like that. That's looking good. Now, the quickest way, like this email opt-in has quite a lot of things going on here. So what I normally do is I just click this brush tool, and then it takes me straight to where I need to make my edits to, just like that. Next, I'm going to come over here. In fact, before I do that, I just want to add some letter spacing here. Okay, reduce the text size to about 20. Let's make it bold as well. Okay, next we're going to come over here to this paragraph, click here on this little brush tool, and we're going to center it as well. Okay, that's looking good. I'm happy with that. Now, this is quite wide as well, so I'm just going to reduce this to about, let's say 88%. We're going to center it. Okay, so I'm pretty much happy with that. The next thing I'm going to do now is to just, for this one here, I'm going to make 2 designs. And the reason why I'm going to do 2 designs is for you guys to help me decide which one works, okay? So this is where it's going in line with what, I think it was Monique that was asking, how do you choose which color to go with, okay? So this one here is going to be black. So I'm going to go ahead, give this background color. Okay. Black, save that. And then over here, we're going to give the section a black color as well. Okay. Right, that's looking good. Right, so now it's time to go in and customize this because we want this to look different because right now it's still pretty much like how it is from Divi, okay? So we're going to click here on this gear icon. We're going to come over here to design fields. So our field form background color, let's make that transparent right away, okay? And then we are going to come over here to our border styles. So for our border styles, let's set it to about 2 pixels there, okay? Now, as you can see, our color palette there is in place. This is where we get to choose the colors that we think will work. Okay, so I'm just testing this to see. So I think this grayish color works. In fact, I can even go here to my color palette here. Right. You know what? I'll just leave this grayish color here for now. So next, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let's have a look. The text is fine, I think. But if I wanted to just make it slightly gray, I can just go in and do that. Now, over here, this text here is a bit too much. Okay, so I'm just going to go back here and just change the color a little bit. So I'm going to click here, expand these colors. So all these colors here work with my color palette. So this is where I get to choose which colors to use. So I want a very light gray, okay, like that, because I don't want everything like right there in my face, okay? So I'm going to go with that. And then for the button here, let's see, use custom styles for button. And let's change the background color. Right, so again, I can choose to go with this color here, or I can go with this yellow, okay? So I'm going to go with this slightly orangey color here. And we have a border. I don't like that border, so let's go ahead and remove that border. Okay, so first of all, let's remove the border radius. And then remove the border. In fact, we can have the border, but the most important thing is to make sure we add the color, just like that. Okay. Now the color here, the text color also needs to change. So I'm just going to come over here to my button text color. So any dark color here can work. So as you can see here, all these colors could work. Let me make it all caps here. And I also want to make it bold. Okay, I think I like how that's looking. Okay, so that's looking great. So again, in terms of contrast, that button there is right there in your eyes. It's easy to read. It's very easy to see. So I really like that. So back over here, what I want to do is to remove these rounded corners. I'm not really happy with that. So I want to keep everything all, square, no rounded corners. Okay, so that's looking great. Now stay in touch. I could again play around with my colors here. Maybe that could work as my title. So I think I'll keep it consistent. I'll just have it, in that grayish color. But again, you can play around with these colors and see what works. Okay, so that's the opt-in that I've just created, the email opt-in. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a version 2 of this, okay? Just to see what works, because now we have a color palette. So this is where we get to decide which one we would add here. So again, I'm going to go in, and this time, in fact, let me close this for now. So this time, let's add a color to this background. And the color here is going to be from our color palette. So as you can see here, I've just added my color, but it doesn't look crazy because it's still working with colors in our color palette. Okay, so now that I have this, now let's go ahead and reverse all these colors now. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to go into my module settings. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is to remove the background, or perhaps just add a color, just like that. So as you can see, this is beginning to take shape. So over here, let's go ahead and add our button. So our button background color, okay, that yellow doesn't work. Let's try this green. Yeah, I think that would work. I think that works. Okay, and then I'm also going to come over here and add the border. Now, when it comes to the text, again, we need very good contrast there. So let's go to the button text color and choose our color. Okay, so that one could work, but you know what? Let's go with that white color. What have I done here? Okay, I don't see it. This is strange. Anyways, I'm going to go in and you know what's annoying? When you don't add your, oh, that's it, my recent colors. I keep forgetting that. So here we have the saved colors, and we also have the recent colors. So recent colors also help you to just find the colors that you've just recently used, okay? So in terms of contrast, now we can see that our button now is easier to read, okay? Now let's go ahead and fix what's happening here on the top, okay? So for our borders, what we're going to do is we are going to play around with our colors again. So let's see what we're going to do here. That doesn't work. So let's see. That doesn't work either. So let's try white. And then let's add some transparency to it. Okay, because I think that would work better. So right now I'm just trying out to see how best I can present this form. Okay, so I think that works. So let's see. Let's go again here and add our focus text color. In fact, for the form field background color, we could also add a solid color there if we wanted to. Okay, let's change the colors here. Okay, that's much better. Right, so now as I'm adding these colors, I can see now that this color here is way too much. Okay, in terms of design, it's way too much, and also the description text here is also not working. I really don't like that. So this is where we get to start playing around with the colors here and see, you know, what really works. So again, I'm going to go into my colors here and play around with these colors and see what would work. So these are just like different versions of gray that I can play around with. Okay, so perhaps maybe if I change this, this would work. So let's see. So let's come back over here to our border. Right, so for the border here, I'm going to go to my recent colors as well. And now I need to change this text inside these fields. So let's see, where is that? Okay, that's the form field background color. So this is where it gets really tricky. Trying to find. I'm not sure if this is. That's strange. I can't find a way to change this. The first name and email. This is strange. Maybe I'm getting tired. Right. Do you see? Does anyone know where you can direct me quickly to change this first name and email? Right, I have a few questions here. Which one is better, Divi or Extra for a blog website? To be honest, I prefer using Divi because Divi, you can highly customize it. With Extra, there haven't been a lot of updates to Extra itself. So it was meant for like a blog style websites, but you can achieve those layouts using Divi. So I would still use Divi for creating a blog. Extra is a bit too restricted. I mean, it has a way of creating all your blog pages and that kind of stuff, but I think that can be achieved in Divi. So I would prefer to go with Divi. And a lot of developments has also gone into Divi, but Extra hasn't had a lot of those updates. Okay. No, Peter here says, are these fields not drawn from autoresponder MailChimp? No, they're not drawn from that. However, you can go in and match those fields in the autoresponder. So that's the next stage I'll be showing you. So right now they are showing, but once we link the autoresponder, this is where now it shows up correctly. So it could be that this is the reason why this is not showing. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue. Now this button here with the design that we have, it's not really working. It's a bit too much. All right, it's standing out way too much. So I just need to work on this a little bit more. So I'm going to try and choose a color here and that is not too much. Okay, let's see. So I'm adding a bit of transparency here. And then I'm also going to go to the borders and add that same color. You know what? I'm going to get rid of that border. Right. So what I'm going to do next is to just come over here to spacing. I'm going to add some padding to this button. In fact, I don't think I can do that. Okay, so the only thing I can do here is to go in, copy this color, and then add that to the border. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to the border width. And then on the border width color, I'm just going to add my color like that, and then save. Okay, so we're going to save the page and refresh it because I think something is going on here as I'm doing this stream. Right, so let's have a look. Okay, it's still not looking right. So I'm going to go back in and try and fix that. Right, so again, I'm going to click on this little icon. So this is the button background color, and then the button border color. Paste my values in here. I don't know why that's not working because I'm adding the same values. Strange. But if I do that, as you can see, it's working fine. So I don't know what this is about. Okay. Okay, let's try yellow. It's so annoying when, these little things, don't work. I guess this is not too bad actually. Let's see if I can add the button color. Okay, that's a bit too much. So we can go in here and get a lighter version of the subscribe text. Okay, so I think that works. Right. So as you look at this now, Monique, back to your question, how do you decide which color section to use? So this is where you would play around with different color versions and see which one works. So now this comes now as a question to you guys. Which version here do you prefer as the opt-in? Do you prefer this version here, or do you prefer the dark version? Okay. So which version? Dark, 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 dark. I can see dark. All right. Any more? Dark from Brenda, from Peter. So it looks like everyone is saying dark. Okay. There's 55 people here. Come on, guys. More. Which one would you prefer on this design? The dark version or this orangey version? So it looks like it's a unanimous dark. Okay. So it's dark, 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 dark all the way. Okay. Interesting. Dark. Okay, let's have a few more votes. Come on, guys. So no one disagrees. Right. So this is pretty much the process of how you decide which version works with your design. So so sometimes in design, I'm not sure, for some of you freelancers, you hear designers say, or clients say, "Hey, that design doesn't even look complicated. How come it's taking so long to design the website?" The time, the research, and the trying out of things is what takes the design long. It may look simple, but the decisions that you're making as you're designing, they take time. So this simple page, I think we've been on the stream now for over an hour. So as you can see, just to design this page, of course, I know I'm talking as I'm doing it. And I also had a few things like pre-done, like for example, I'd installed the theme already. I'd done, entered my API keys and stuff like that. But if we were to do everything else from scratch, even setting up the hosting and all of that, the time does add up. So sometimes a basic website can take up to 2 days or even 3 days to design. Right. Do you see Michael's questions above regarding color? Okay, where is Michael's question? I can't see it. Michael, where? No, absolutely not. I would not give the clients the choice for color because as designers, we are problem solvers. So clients come to us and say, right, Mac or Brenda or whoever it is, can you design my website for me? I want my website to achieve blah, 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 blah. So that's the design brief. Okay. So as a designer now, you decide which colors would work well with the project because you are the person that knows color theory. You know which fonts work well with over which type of fonts in 99 out of 100 or 99% of the time, the client doesn't really know what works. They assume things work, but they don't. Some of them, I mean, most of them don't even have an idea of why they're suggesting these colors. They'll just say, oh, I like this color because my son suggested it, or my wife suggested it, or my cousin suggested that color. I want pink because of that. It doesn't work. And this is why, like with me, when I was running my design agency, I pretty much got frustrated. It took away that joy of building websites because when you're being told now by the client what to use or what font to use and stuff like that, and you know as a designer that this doesn't work, it becomes one of those projects where you're just doing it for money. And that is why I really lost the interest of designing those type of websites with clients that don't appreciate the art of it. You know, the art of designing websites. A lot goes into this, and a lot of clients don't seem to realize that. So of course, I'm not saying all the clients were like that. I also had clients who appreciated what I gave them, and they were fantastic. And also, the results show for themselves. So, for example, I had a client that had a gymnastics for kids place. We did an intro video. The colors that we added there, they're all fun, happy, because the audience was kids, and the response that they got from the parents and just interacting with that website were all positive. You know what I mean? So I've had website projects where clients were very, very happy, but I've also had crazy ones where I'll just do the website just to get it out of the way. And adding that website onto my portfolio, definitely it wasn't going to work. So it's those projects that really took a lot of energy out of myself. So just to quickly answer your question, don't give the client the choice to choose colors because they may not even know design principles, for example. Yes, they can give you some images to use, but again, those images need to be like images that are really well taken and that kind of stuff. And you can also give them suggestions on how to improve them. But basically, you need to have the final say when it comes to the design. Right. Okay. So I guess we can continue here. Right. Awesome. So let's delete this one here. So the dark here unanimously is the one that's working. So that's looking great. Now, the next stage is let's add a footer. So the footer that we're going to add is a footer that's going to go across all the pages of our website. In fact, you know what? Let's work on the header area of our website because I had already gone ahead and done this. Okay. I want to show you how I achieved this. Okay. This transparent header area. So I'm going to save this page, make sure we don't lose any of our hard work. Right, so I am going to go here into my dashboard. In fact, you can't see what I'm doing because I forgot to switch. Right, okay. So what I want to do here is to go to Divi theme options. No, theme customizer. Right, so you want to come over here to header navigation, primary menu bar. So by default, okay, this is what it looks like. Something's going on here. I'm adding these colors. Oh, there we go. So by default, you normally have white there at the top of your website as you start designing with Divi. So the quickest way to go in and add a transparent background is to just come over here to background, okay? And then you want to drag this transparency all the way down. So as you can see, I'm halfway. You can start to see, the image there. And then you want to go all the way down. And now you have a transparent header. So the next stage now is to choose your colors. So active link color. Again, here we can choose our colors from our color palette. So let's go here with this yellow color. And then the rest of the colors here can be white. That's fine. Okay. So that's great. So the thing is, we also want a secondary color. You notice that as I'm scrolling here, my text there can be difficult to read as I'm scrolling through that. So we need to fix this right away. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back, fixed navigation settings. I'm going to click on that. And then primary menu background color. Right now it's set to transparent. So let's go with a black. So now, in fact, that hasn't worked because it's still full transparency. Okay. Okay. So now we can see it. There we go. So you see that black that we have there. I think that works really okay when you're scrolling up, the website. But of course, this is where you get to choose, each color. But since we've been using black throughout all this, I think this works well for our design. Okay, so I've got my fixed navigation there all set. That's looking great. Now we can go to the header format. And this is where you can choose a slide in, full screen, and so on. So let's do something different here because the vloggers, they're creative, they want to try something different. This is not your typical corporate website. So we can actually have this hamburger icon here on the top, and then we can show it this way. So the visitor comes to the website and they get to choose your pages this way. Okay. So this is this is what we could do here on the header. Let's see what else we could do. We could do a slide in as well. Like that. And I think I like this. I think I'd really like this. So what we're going to do, since now that we have the slide in, let's go in and make some header settings to this. So first of all, we want to start here with our menu text. So I'm going to make it slightly bigger, maybe 16. The letter spacing, I think letter spacing is fine. I'm going to make it all caps. I prefer to have all caps like that. Now, the background color. So this is where we can get a bit creative. So we can go with our colors from our color palette. So we could go with that one. But to be honest, I don't really like it. I would prefer this color right here. And my text here, seems okay like that. So I would go with that color. But, this is where you could also choose black if you wanted to, but I think we've used a lot of black. Let's add a bit more excitement today. So I'm going to go with this color right here for my navigation. And then what I'm going to do next is here is where you get to choose your menu link color, which is that. So you can play around with the colors here as well. So you can go with that. Right, so let's see. So we can add a slightly dark gray like that. I think that works fine. Now the active link color, let's see if this could work. But I think white works better for that. Yeah, I think white really stands out for the selected selected link. Okay, so that looks great. Let's move on. Now, what we could also add to this is a search bar, but I think I want to keep everything simple. I'm going to leave it like that. Let's see what else can we change here. Now this X here, I've tried to change this color, but I guess we can only do it via CSS. So I'm going to leave that for the next lesson and show you once I've played around with the CSS, then show you how to add that. Okay. So now that our page is done, let's go to the home page. So as you can see, if we click here, we have our menu just like that. So I think I'd really like this. Okay, great. So this is our page so far. So this is our landing page, my travel adventures. We have the video here. We have the latest places the vlogger has visited. So if we click here, it has a nice gallery here, and you can cycle through the images just like that. Okay. Also here, this is where we get the email opt-in, but because I'm viewing this page and I've exited the visual builder, these fields will not show. But as soon as I enable the visual builder, the fields will show. Now this is because I haven't lined up, I haven't connected my autoresponder to my email opt-in. That's why it's not showing. So pretty much this is how we designed the main page. Let's see, what else do we need to add to this? In fact, let's do a Q&A now. If you have any questions regarding what we've done so far, we can go ahead and perhaps discuss those things. And then what we could do in the next session is I could design the footer and show you how to add that footer to the rest of the website. So let's leave this for Q&A. Or perhaps you want me to go ahead and design the footer. Right. I've got a message here from Eric. Eric, thank you very much for your message. I really appreciate the compliments, and I'm really glad that you guys are actually benefiting from these live streams. It's it's always good to know, to get this kind of feedback, because sometimes when I go through and do these tutorials, I'm not sure how much people really appreciate these. But it's good to know. Eric, thank you very much for your message. Firoz says, at what point do you check your site mobile screen? Usually I check once the page has been designed, or sometimes depending on how quick the website is, I can just go in section by section and just make sure that everything is mobile friendly. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to do that as the finishing touches, because I didn't want to spend so much time doing the little tweaks because that takes time. Otherwise, we could have spent the whole of this live stream just making those minor tweaks. So I really wanted us to get away with something that we can really see and see develop. So what we're going to do is towards the end, that's what we're going to dedicate to those little tweaks, final decisions. But generally speaking, when you're designing your websites, you want to be doing it section by section. That's what I would advise. Monique also says, I'm learning about color. It's been very helpful. It's good to know that these little, I wouldn't say little, but these little decisions that you make with color go a really, really long way. You can see here that on our site, there's a theme already, building up. This orange also goes into the image that I've chosen here. And so throughout the whole website, you'll notice that we're going to be using the same colors. Even for the social media icons, we're going to be using same colors from our color palette. So I'm glad that you are learning more about color. Okay. In fact, what we may do as well is we'll dedicate some time to color theory itself, and so that you can actually use this throughout your design process. Okay. I also have another message here from Erwin saying, Mac, your You're doing a great job. I'm a designer and web developer for 18 years. Wow, that's awesome. So again, I mean, thank you very much for that. I'm glad, that these little things, even us using Divi itself, there's so many things that you may not even have noticed that you can do with Divi, especially like this color, like this color palette that Divi generates for you. That's another quick way of making sure that you're within the design, the color theory design colors, because I'm sure you've noticed when I do these website reviews, I'm going on about two main things: color, the use of image, and font. And it's basics really when I'm reviewing these websites. So I'm glad that you're seeing me actually build these websites and showing you where to add your text right from the get-go. So when you design your website, you don't have any issues of text sizes. Now, a lot of websites that I've reviewed here on this channel, they have issues with text sizes. Sometimes the font is way too small on this page, and then on the next page it's bigger. That's because you haven't added your fonts in the theme customizer, right? Trisha says it's great to be part of the live program with comments from all, learning and confirming my knowledge. Absolutely. So again, even though you have like knowledge of web design, you've been a designer for years, there's some things that you can pick out and learn. Because there's so much to learn. Design is amazing. That's why people come with different layouts, different type of designs, and different ways of doing things. So I'm glad that these live streams are achieving that. That's always been my dream with Mac University, having all the members, get these, one-to-ones where you can ask questions, I can respond why I'm doing certain things as I'm designing the website. So I want to do more of these real-time designs, choosing different types of projects, even going into e-commerce and that kind of stuff. Okay. Nigel also says learning so much. Great. Okay, so I think what we could do is, let me see, we have a question here. Michael says, I have a client who needs to have a contact form with multiple attachments for uploading. Can the Divi form? Let me take a quick look. I don't think you can do attachments on Divi, but don't quote me on that. Let's see. Did you say contact form? Nope. Nope. The Divi contact form does not do the attachments. Something like Gravity Forms, you're able to do that with Gravity Forms, but with the Divi, you're not able to do that. And having multiple ways to upload stuff, again, Gravity Forms does a very good job of that. I've used that before. It's very, very powerful. So that's what I'll recommend. The Divi form is quite limited in a way. I think it just does, like your basic, forwarding information that users add onto the actual form. But I'll look a bit more into it. But to be honest, I don't think you can actually add attachments onto this form. Perhaps maybe that's something that may be added at a later stage of these Divi feature updates. Okay, so I think we'll end this live stream now. And then what we'll do is in our next session, we're going to start designing the inside pages. And we'll start off with the footer, and then we'll design the inside pages. And then once this design is complete, we're going to give it away to the whole world so that they can get to have a very good starting point. And for those of you designers out there, in fact, I'll be giving this away for free as well if you need it. And for those of you out there that that want to use it in your own projects, you're free to use this. You can, I'm going to be giving it away for free, basically, so you can use this whenever you want. But I'm sure you'll be excited to see how this all comes together. So I'm really excited about this project, and also future web design projects where we get to design specific websites that have specific goals, like membership websites, like restaurant websites with an ordering process, stuff like that. So that's what Mac University is about. If you haven't signed up for Mac University, I highly recommend that you sign up for Mac University. There'll be courses being added on, and also you'll benefit a lot from these one-to-one sessions. As time goes on, as I'm adding more and more content, I will be also increasing the price to Mac University, because there's a lot of work that goes into this, and I also want to do a bit more advanced type courses. I just want to do like the basics. I want to go deep into more of these advanced topics, which require, of course, a lot of research and all of that. So that's why if you are locked into the Mac University membership now, you'll benefit a lot, because there's a lot of content coming through on Mac University. And also, if you haven't bought Divi, the link is right there. Click buy Divi using my affiliate link, and I'll give you access to the Divi Blueprint 3 course and the Photoshop course. All right, guys. The other thing I also want to add is next week, I'm going to put together a design brief. So we are going to do a challenge, okay? We are going to be doing a challenge. So the challenge is, I'm going to give you a color palette, okay? I've been thinking about this for a while. I'm going to be giving you a color palette, okay? And give you a task to design a specific page. It's only going to be a single page. So this could be on your existing Divi website, okay? But the challenge will be, I'll give you a color palette, and then you can go ahead and design a specific page that goes with that brief, okay? This is good practice, because for those of you that want to go into freelance web design and that kind of stuff, this is how it will work in real life. But we want to make things easy. We just want to design one page. So that will be a challenge. I'll be reviewing these live as well, and also on my YouTube channel. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. I'll also be emailing you the challenge via email. So I think that'll be a very fun thing to do. So I'll just give you what the brief will be about and the color palette, and then you can go ahead and become creative. Okay. Awesome. I think that'll be fun. So we can all look at all our designs and critique them live, and you'll be seeing my real reactions on these. In fact, what we'll do is I don't want you to be sending these prior to the live show. So I want to react live as you post your links to your pages in the comments box. How about that? All right, guys, gotta go. It's been really nice hanging out with you guys. I really appreciate it, and thank you very much for signing up to make sure that there's people for me to talk to on the live stream. So it's great that you have put away some time to join me on this live stream. So I want to thank you very much, and also have a great weekend. And I'll see you again on Saturday, around about the same time. And also, don't forget, go and check out my vlog. It's on my YouTube channel if you haven't watched it yet. If you go on to Mac TV, check out my vlog. Tell me what you think and how I can improve it. Okay? All right, guys, have a great weekend. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon. Take care.